Number 10. Kylie Jenner. The US business magazine estimated Jenner's net worth at $1 billion and claimed she was the world's youngest self-made billionaire at the age of 21 in March 2019. Forbes later released a statement accusing the makeup mogul of forging tax documents so she would appear to be a billionaire, and claimed she fabricated revenue figures for her cosmetics business Kylie Cosmetics. Jenner seemed taken aback by the claims and tweeted that the magazine had published, quote, inaccurate statements and unproven assumptions, and denied forging any documents. The magazine adds that a more realistic accounting of her personal fortune puts it at just under $900 million, which is still a lot of money, but it's not a billion. Number 9. Sean Kingston. The Jamaican-American singer achieved fame as soon as he stepped into the limelight when he released the single Beautiful Girls. Since then, it's fair to assume people haven't heard a whole lot about Sean, who's still trying to recreate that success. Well, back then, being one of the biggest stars around, you'd think it would be easy for him to try and impress beautiful girls. You'd think he'd have women falling at his feet due to his superstar status. Perhaps he did, but Sean still played fast and loose with the truth and still felt he needed to add to his image. He was found out lying to a date when he revealed to the paparazzi that he had owned a sports car given to him by Justin Bieber. They later discovered after some digging that Bieber had only lent him the wheels for a matter of days. Probably to impress his date, but we're not sure. Number 8. Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker was once one of Hollywood's top men. Once upon a time, he was ranking it in. At the height of his powers, he was earning $25 million for films like Rush Hour 3, despite that film being a major flop. His comedic timing and general funny man persona meant he was loved by one and all. The once bankable star, despite still living the high life, soon went broke. He blames this on a number of things. Firstly, he had tax problems and had to shell out millions to the taxman. But secondly, he became a born-again Christian. This meant that he became very choosy with the roles that were offered to him. Almost all were too inappropriate for him and didn't sit well with him on his mission of wanting to be closer to God. But many would say he's been using this as an excuse and that he's been lying about this aspect of his lifestyle. He said he was going to keep his comedy clean, but anyone who's seen his work recently would know that that's not the case. Number 7. Britney Spears. Britney Spears was a superstar singer who ruled the pop world during the late 90s and early 2000s. And today she's still around doing her thing, but has gone through plenty of issues since her initial rise to fame. And it's safe to say that she's no longer the pop princess she once was. There are plenty of people who say that everything about Britney Spears is fake. From her look to her voice, music, lifestyle, and just overall personality, everything about Britney is an illusion for the media. After her golden period, she went on a hiatus, and that's when she was dealing with plenty of things. When Sam Lutfi was her manager, she was still acting like a pop princess, but was seriously hemorrhaging money. She was hardly earning during this time, but was spending what cash she had on anything and everything. Cars, homes, shopping, you name it, she splurged on it. Britney was broke, yet was spending a whopping $700,000 a month. She was caught when it was discovered her dad had to step in and help her get a grip. Number 6. Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton has been caught faking an aspect of her persona. Well, she was caught because she chose to come out with it herself and reveal everything. We probably all know that Paris lives a life of luxury. She's an heiress to a fortune and is basically famous for being famous and flaunting her cash. Kinda like the Kardashians. But there's an aspect of her lifestyle that she has faked. Remember when Paris Hilton first did reality TV along with her best buddy Nicole Richie? They were a part of The Simple Life in the early 2000s. And it's fairly self-explanatory from the title. It's about the two getting to grips with the normal life, so-called simple life. Nicole was the troublemaker and Paris portrayed the young, dumb, ditzy blonde. Apparently, it was all staged. Paris was asked to portray that character and due to the success of the show, went along with it for the next 5 years. Number 5. 50 Cent. If you think about some of the wealthiest rappers in the world, you'd have to assume that 50 Cent would feature on that list. He's had a string of successful hit singles, was a movie star, boxing promoter, and can add businessman to that list too. But some of his business decisions and financial planning have gone south, leaving 50 Cent in debt. At one point, he was broke and filed for bankruptcy. It was then that we realized that the whole image he was portraying and the lifestyle he claimed to be leading at the time was fake. He also had other money issues too, and was ordered to pay back some of his debts because it was thought, judging by his lifestyle, that he could afford to do so. That's when he pulled back the curtain and revealed his lifestyle was an illusion. His gold chains were recycled, cars were rentals, and he lied about placing $1 million bets on boxing fights, and the list just goes on and on and on. Number 4. Sean Combs. This guy is probably the only other person person who can rival Jay-Z. When it comes to the money side of things, Sean Combs has earned his fortune as a rapper, singer, songwriter, actor, record producer, and entrepreneur. He's made some savvy decisions and it's led to him acquiring a vast sum of wealth. It seems like rappers just love lying about private jets they supposedly own. Combs can certainly afford his own private jet, and does have one now, one that's actually his. But even he, once upon a time, lied about owning a private jet. He once said that he owned one, but didn't use it regularly because of the sky-high prices of fuel. I mean, accurate, but it wasn't true. At the time he said that, of course people began doing some digging. And it wasn't long before it was discovered that he'd rented a jet by the hour and didn't actually own one. Number 3, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan has been through a lot, and she's still relatively young. But as she rose through the ranks and got older, she struggled to deal with the fame, fortune, and everything that being a celebrity entails. Her downward spiral was dramatic, and she's still struggling to find her feet again on the Hollywood scene. Although it was evident she was going through numerous problems, Lindsay tried to hide it as best she could, although she didn't do a very good job at it. She was broke and filed for bankruptcy, yet she was still living in her plush accommodation, dining in seriously fancy restaurants, etc. She has also been caught lying about other aspects of her life, many think just to keep herself relevant in the eyes of the media. Wild stories about her crop up time and time again, and sources close to Lindsay have revealed they're all lies. Number 2, Chloe Khan. Nowadays, you really can become a celebrity for doing anything, so as long as your face gets picked up, you get a little bit of popularity, you can build upon that. That's exactly what Chloe Khan did. She may not be too familiar to those outside of the UK, but on British shores, she's created quite a name for herself. Her rise to fame began when she unsuccessfully auditioned for the show The X Factor. Now, most people would just disappear after achieving their 5 minutes of fame, but not Chloe. She gained a bit of popularity and this just grew. She then achieved fame after dating John Gray, and subsequently becoming the face of the chain of clubs. Chloe has also achieved webcam success and has launched a premium social club fans-only site. She's been dubbed the Millionaire Princess, but her luxurious lifestyle is all an illusion. For example, she claims she owns a mansion. It's been discovered, however, that the mansion consists of apartments, and she only rents out one of them. She's told people the fancy car she owns was bought with her hard-earned cash. Then she told other people it was a freebie for promotion purposes. Now coming in at number 1, Justin Bieber. If anyone in the singing profession could afford to buy a private jet, it'd be Justin Bieber. The guy's been continuously racking it in from a relatively young age, and he's one of the highest paid singers around. He's also someone who loves to splash on the cash. What he spent with his money on is a subject that often warrants plenty of attention from the media. He spent his cash on the usual things such as parties, cars, and houses, and I suppose buying a private jet is usual when it comes to a superstar singers in his line of work. Or he wanted everybody to think so anyway. Posting a picture one Christmas casually announcing he bought himself a little Christmas present in the shape of a private jet. But as soon as he posted that photo, TMZ began doing their homework. They discovered that the jet was basically a rental, and it wasn't long before people began getting on his back. Number 10, Ike Batista. In 2012, Batista was worth an estimated $30 billion, making him the 7th richest man in the world. But when Batista's oil company failed to meet demands and Brazil's economy slid into a decline, the billionaire filed for bankruptcy in 2013, after authorities began investigating why Brazil's top companies had declined so quickly. They charged Batista with money laundering and corruption in January 2017. Then in July 2018, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for bribing former Rio de Janeiro governor Sergio Cabral. Number 9, the Koch brothers. David and Charles, the brothers still with Koch Industries, are among the world's biggest polluters. Bill Koch, who split off from the family company, is a world-class weirdo who devotes himself to things like building a faux western town solely for his amusement and buying a $2 million photo of Billy the Kid. Though not as active in bankrolling GOP polls as his brothers, Bill was a big supporter of fellow 1% jerk Mitt Romney and has found time to fight against America's first offshore wind farm in Massachusetts. As for David and Charles, they have won a permanent spot in the Public Menace Hall of Fame, kicking their fellow human beings in the face with everything from funding climate change denial to strangling democracy. They have striven to reshape America into a Tea Party nightmare and have plenty of money to continue their mission. Number 8, Peter Peterson. Private equity mogul Pete Peterson, who founded the Blackstone Group with Steven Schwartzman, has a very straightforward agenda. He wants to kill Social Security and Medicare, the programs that keep millions of Americans out of poverty. His strategy is to channel gargantuan amounts of money into stoking nonsensical deficit hysteria. His focus on austerity policies, which have proved disastrous around the world, particularly in places like the UK, makes him an economic quack, but one who has found willing ears among fools and villains. villains. Peterson has pushed his messaging into popular culture. He has held high-profile summits, and he has enlisted hordes of wealthy politicians, like Alan Simpson. He is a driving force behind the Fix the Debt campaign, a consortium of corporate bosses and rich individuals who have attempted to bring deficit scaremongering to DC in order to achieve cuts to vital programs and further strip hardworking Americans of their dignity. Number 7. Rupert Murdoch. Murdoch, the Australian media tycoon, has dedicated himself to coercing the public through the misinformation, intolerance, and contempt of ordinary people promoted through his News Corp. Politicians woo him for his cash and the vast influence of his newspapers, magazines, and TV networks, creating a foul nexus of influence that is corrosive to democracy. Be it union busting, race baiting, or monopolistic business practices, Murdoch has been there, done that. He's found himself embroiled in a hacking scandal in which employees of his newspaper were caught doing just about anything, including bribing police and hacking into the phone of an executed schoolgirl to get a story. Murdoch had previously tweeted what he considered a joke about an obese woman who fell through a New York sidewalk, asking if she got too fat from food stamps and welfare. Number 6. Stephen Schwarzman. The Blackstone Group's co-founder Stephen Schwarzman, described as private equity's designated villain in The New Yorker, is fond of throwing lavish parties for himself, including an infamous $3 million birthday feat in June 2007 at New York City's Park Avenue Armory. The party, which went down in history as a show-stopping chant to bad taste, featured a marching band of a 50-foot silkscreen recreation of Schwarzman-owned $40 billion apartment. Revelers included Bill Clinton and Cardinal Edward Egan, now considered a dark horse for the Pope. A couple of months later, the economy tanked thanks in part to the mismanagement and excess debt of the unregulated private equity firms that have served to weaken the real economy. Schwarzman captured headlines by comparing raising taxes on private equity fat cats like himself to Adolf's invasion of Poland. He's reportedly outraged that persons like himself have been the subject of contempt since the financial crisis. Number 5. Gina Rinehart. If there is a place for those who hate working people, Australian mining mogul Gina Rinehart occupies the innermost circle. The richest woman in the Asia-Pacific region likes to share her obscene philosophy of wealth, and had once made a case for $2 a day pay. She also instructed poor people to stop being jealous of the rich and to focus on working harder, and drinking and smoking less. She blamed Australia's economic problems on a socialist, anti-business agenda. But of course, Rinehart, who inherited a $30 billion fortune, has never had a real job. Number 4. Truett Cathy. While Chick-fil-A is perhaps best known for its crispy chicken sandwiches, the company is also known for its controversy surrounding LGBTQ+ rights. Chick-fil-A and its president Dan Cathy, whose current net worth is $5.2 billion, were scandalized after the company revealed its support for Christian organizations such as Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the Salvation Army, and the Paul Anderson Youth Home, which have all held anti-gay beliefs over the years. In 2012, Cathy gave an interview to the Baptist Press in which he said he believed in the, quote, biblical definition of the family unit. That is, that marriage should only be between a man and a woman. Backlash ensued, and while Cathy claimed it was his own personal religious belief and that the company did not have any anti-gay agenda, activists went as far as to boycott the chain entirely. The chain has since stopped donating to these organizations, choosing instead to donate to education, homeless, and hunger. Number 3. The Walton family. The Walton family is the richest in the US and heirs to the retail juggernaut Walmart. They collectively claim 0.14% of the country's entire wealth. Or to put it another way, they are worth as much as the bottom 41% of all Americans combined. Their legacy is a grotesque business model that depends on pushing down wages and sinking living standards for millions of Americans. Rob is the chairman of the board of directors of the company that pays its full-time hourly employees an average of $12.50 and has a policy of keeping them part-time so they don't even earn that. The Waltons are big-time funders of conservative causes, with special emphasis on undermining public education. Jim Moulton, who serves as a chairman for the Walton-owned Arvest Bank, is particularly active in injecting his family's ill-gotten gains into politics. Number 2. Leon Black. In October 2020, a New York Times report revealed that Black, the billionaire founder of private equity and investing firm Apollo Management, paid disgraced financier Jeffrey about $50 million for personal financial advice between 2012 and 2017. The time period is notable. It means Black engaged in Jeffrey's services long after he was convicted in 2008 of an underage intimacy charge in Florida, in a plea deal worked out between him and U.S. attorneys that enabled Jeff to serve that many believe was a light prison sentence in a county jail. jail. Black quickly expressed regret for his association with Jeffrey since his 2019 arrest, said that Jeffrey never did business with Apollo, and claimed he was unaware of Jeff's alleged intimacy ring of underage girls. Number 1. Jacqueline Mars. Jacqueline Mars, the heiress to the Mars candy fortune and company co-owner, was involved in a 2013 car accident that took the life of a woman and an unborn child. The Washington Post reported that, according to authorities, Mars had told a witness at the scene of the accident that she had fallen asleep while driving. The victims in the accident were identified as 86-year-old grandmother named Irene, who was sitting in the back seat, and the unborn child of Ashley Aker Blakesley, the driver of the Chrysler minivan struck by Mars' Porsche SUV. 5 other passengers were later treated at the hospital. At the time, Mars was the second richest woman in the US with a net worth of $20.5 billion. Her net worth currently sits at $30.2 billion. She pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor reckless driving charge, resulting in 6 months suspension of her driver's license and a $2,500 fine. The Acker family said they never wished for Mars to spend time behind bars for the accident. "We have only forgiveness in our hearts for her," Sharon Acker, Ashley's mother, had said in a court statement. "My husband and I would like to say thank you to Miss Mars for her kindness thus far and hope in time that she too will find peace." Number 10. Bridge alignment gone wrong. When you come across a fail like this, it really makes you wonder if somebody was out there playing an elaborate joke or something. There's no way that anyone could possibly mess up a project that important, right? It's less than likely that the guy responsible for this one kept his job. On the plus side, it looks like one lane on each side lines up with the other. At least all they need now is a couple of ramps to send traffic flying over the gap to and from work on their daily commute. Or maybe a catapult to send people in cars to the other side. But the reality of that actually working is probably pretty low. I mean, this guy made one of his own, and as cool as it is, it probably won't work with cars. So this bridge was a big flop and likely cost thousands of dollars to fix. Modern problems require modern solutions. Number 9. French train company orders trains that are too fat for platforms. The French company SNCF flubbed the purchase of 2,000 trains in 2014. The problem? Well, many of their platforms were too narrow to fit the new trains. The mistake cost around 50 million euros, a steep cost to incur on top of the 15 billion euros they had just paid for the trains. The error occurred when the operator neglected to factor in measurements of train platforms that had been built more than 50 years ago. The process of expanding the 1,300 platforms to accommodate their corresponding trains took 2 years, in a process that was equally expensive and time-consuming as it was embarrassing. But I mean, in all fairness, I went out and bought a couch without measuring my apartment, and now it's too big. So I guess the operator and I have something in common. But also, now I've learned my lesson, like now I measure things. But also, if I was a train operator, I would have definitely measured. Number 8. Blockbuster could have bought Netflix in 2000. Before video streaming services became all the rage, you used to have to go to these places called video stores where you'd rent movies. If you kept it past the due date, you'd have to pay a late fee. Blockbuster was the biggest of these video store chains, and it was the best. I mean, the store shut down and it sucked. Everyone loved the place. But then Netflix was a successful newcomer with an interesting business model. In 2000, Reed Hastings, the co-founder of Netflix, met with John Antioco, the CEO of Blockbuster, to propose a partnership. Netflix would run Blockbuster's online brand, and Blockbuster would promote Netflix in stores. John and his team laughed Hastings out of their office. 10 years later, Blockbuster went bankrupt, and now Netflix is currently worth $15.8 billion. Talk about bad luck. Number 7. Publishers pass on Harry Potter. Undoubtedly, you've heard the story, not Harry Potter's story, the one about the woman who wrote the books. JK had humble beginnings. She conceived the idea of Harry Potter in 1990 while sitting on a delayed train from Manchester to London King's Cross. Over the next 5 years, she began to map out all 7 books of the series. She wrote mostly in longhand and gradually built up a mass of notes, many of which were scribbled on odd scraps of paper. Taking her notes with her, she moved to northern Portugal to teach English as a foreign language. Married in 1992 and had a daughter, Jessica, in 1993. When the marriage ended later that year, she returned to the UK to live in Edinburgh with Jessica and a suitcase containing the first 3 chapters of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. After she finished writing, the books catapulted her to success. For inspiration, JK shared a couple of her rejection letters with her Twitter followers. In response to Robert E. Galbraith, one publisher says, "I regret that we've reluctantly come to the conclusion that we could not publish Harry Potter with commercial success." The book was then first published by Bloomsbury Children's Book in June 1997. Now book sales alone of the Harry Potter series have grossed to well over an estimated $7.7 billion. Number 6. Robert Wayne sells his Apple stock for $800. Everyone knows that hindsight is 20/20, but still this had to sting. Steve Jobs is a household name, and most moderately tech-inclined people are familiar with Steve Wozniak, but many are unfamiliar with Apple's third founder, Ronald Wayne. Wayne drew Apple's iconic logo and served as an intermediary between the two innovative Steves. Jobs' strong personality clashed with Wayne, eventually prompting him to sell his 10% stake in the company for $800 in 1976.
$6, which today is around $4,000, a decision that prevented him from becoming a multi-billionaire. Apple then became worth well over $1 trillion. Despite missing out on enormous earnings, Wayne said he had no regrets in leaving the company. But I mean, I'm sure deep down there's gotta be some kind of regret. I mean, imagine you had this piece of jewelry that it was only worth $20, so you sold it to buy a pizza or whatever, and then years later you found out it is now worth over $1 million. Gotta feel pretty bad. Number 5. Millennium, the wobbly bridge in the Thames. On June 10, 2000, construction was completed on an £18.2 million bridge connecting both sides of the River Thames. The bridge was then closed 3 days later after a disturbing incident while the bridge was crowded with foot traffic. The bridge was swaying very dangerously. During the weekend it opened, approximately 160,000 people crossed the pedestrian bridge and were understandably alarmed by the rapid movement of the fixture. The cause of the problem was the bridge's popularity. Too many people stepping in unison along the path. The bridge closed immediately following the concerns, but more money had to be raised to correct the problem. It would then be 2 years before the bridge would open again. Number 4. Star Wars merchandise. George Lucas is a rich man, but it's quite possible he could have been a lot richer. The film studio was very unwilling to fork over the necessary cash to allow the green filmmaker to film a certain science fiction story involving robots, spaceships, and light-up swords. So Lucas decided to sweeten the deal a little. He signed over the merchandising rights for all Star Wars films to 20th Century Fox. That means that Lucas doesn't see a dime from every toy droid, stormtrooper, or lightsaber sold. And I don't think I have to tell you how much money Star Wars merchandise makes for you to understand how much that has to hurt. But here's a little glimpse. In 1978, Star Wars action figures alone exceeded $100 million in sales. By now, it's well into the billions. Number 3. Excite could have bought Google during its early stages. If you remember the early days of the internet, you might remember Excite. In 1999, it was the second most popular search engine. Yahoo was in fact number 1. Google, then called Backrub, was a promising new competitor in the search engine market. But hey, little side note, imagine an alternate reality where the name wasn't changed and people referred to an internet search as a backrub. Kinda weird. Anyway, moving on. Excite was interested in buying the company for $750,000, but passed when Google insisted that its technology replace Excite's. Maddeningly, one of the main reasons cited for Excite passing on Google's technology was because they thought it worked too well. Users would find the information they wanted and move on too quickly, and Excite would lose precious revenue. Excite sold to Yahoo in 2004 and estimates valued Google at $167 billion. Number 2. Man throws away 7,500 bitcoins in 2009. In 2009, few saw the way cryptocurrency would take off in the coming years. Unfortunately for James Howell, he was not one of the few blessed with the foresight. Shortly after acquiring 7,500 bitcoins, when they were worth very little, Mr. Howell spilled coffee on his computer. He salvaged and sold most of the parts and got all the information he thought he'd need off the hard drive. The hard drive sat in his drawer for years before he threw it away for a move. When he realized his mistake and after seeing the way Bitcoin had taken off, he began searching for the lost hard drive in the city dump. To make matters worse, the Newport City Council forbid him from continuing the search due to concerns about the environmental impact of disturbing potentially hazardous waste. Bitcoin peaked when it hit over $19,000 in December 2017, and this means that Howell essentially threw away $148 million. Now call it insanely bad luck or stupidity, but that's just unfortunate nonetheless. Now coming in at number 1, a walkie-talkie building is so reflective it melts car parts. You might have heard about a building so ugly that it hurts your eyes, but you've probably never considered a building that can melt a car. The funny looking building on 20 French Church Street had to shell out some extra funds for some protection after complaints that it had melted parts of a man's Jaguar that was parked across the street. The glare from the 37th floor skyscraper at 20 French Church Street melted parked vehicles and damaged shops in the city of London. Developer Land Security said it has received planning permission to install a sunshade. In its financial results for 2013, the developer said a solar glare issue drew attention to the building for the wrong reasons. The scorching glare and heat also damaged parked vehicles, including a Jaguar, melting its wing mirror, panels, and Jaguar badge. Martin Lindsay was returning to his vehicle one day when he noticed a photographer snapping pictures of his car. His rearview mirror and part of the body had rippled under the intense heat generated by the reflection of the side of the building. Developers paid the £946 fee to Mr. Lindsay and had built a temporary sunscreen to mitigate sun damage to the surrounding area until a permanent solution was found. I mean, I don't own a super luxury car, but if I was the owner of that car, I would be so mad. Starting off this countdown at number 10, Jim Carrey. James Eugene Carrey is a Canadian-American actor and comedian. He broke out as a star in motion pictures with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber, all in 1994. This is followed up with Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, Batman Forever, and Liar Liar. In the 2000s, he gained future notice for his portrayal of the Grinch in How the Grinch Stole Christmas and for the comedy Me, Myself, and Irene, as well as Bruce Almighty, A Series of Unfortunate Events, Yes Man, Horton Hears a Who, and Christmas Carol. In the 2010s, Carrie appeared in the films Mr. Popper's Penguins, Dumb and Dumber 2, and portrayed Leap Day William in the sitcom 30 Rock. In 2020, he portrayed Dr. Robotnik in Sonic the Hedgehog and its 2022 sequel, and Joe Biden in 6 episodes of Saturday Night Live in the lead up to the 2020 United States presidential election. But before his biggest role on In Living Color launched the Canadian comics career in 1990, things weren't so smooth. At 12 years old, the actor was homeless and living in a van after his father lost his job. Number 9. Selena Gomez. Selena Marie Gomez is an American singer, songwriter, actress, and producer. Gomez began her acting career on the children's television series Barney and Friends from 2002 to 2004. As a teenager, she rose to prominence for starring as Alex Russo on the Disney Channel television series Wizards of Waverly Place. Alongside her television career, Gomez appeared in the films Another Cinderella Story, Princess Production Program, Wizards of Waverly Place the Movie, Ramona and Beezus, Monte Carlo, Spring Breakers, Neighbors 2 Sorority Rising, and A Rainy Day in New York. She also voiced the character Mavis in the Hotel Transylvania film franchise. Gomez also executive produced the Netflix television series 13 Reasons Why and Living Undocumented through her production company July Moonhead Productions. She also earned a nomination for Best Actress in a Comedy Series at the Critics' Choice Television Awards. She also made history when she was nominated as a producer for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Comedy Series for Only Murders in the Building at the 74th Primetime Emmy Awards. However, when she was an 18-year-old Disney star in 2011, she revealed to Hollywood Life that her mother gave birth to the future superstar when she was just 16 years old, and worked several jobs just to put food, often dollar store spaghetti, on the table. Number 8. Halle Berry. Halle Berry is an American actress. She began her career as a model and entered several beauty contests, finishing at the first runner-up in the Miss USA pageant and coming in 6th in the Miss World 1986. Her breakthrough film role was in the romantic comedy Boomerang, alongside Eddie Murphy, which led to a role in the Flintstones. Berry established herself as one of the highest-paid actresses in Hollywood during the 2000s. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance of a struggling widow in the romantic drama Monsters Ball, becoming the only African-American woman to have won the award, and took on high-profile roles such as Storm in 4 installments of the X-Men film series, the henchwoman of a robber in the thriller Swordfish, Bond girl Jinx in Die Another Day, and the title role in Catwoman, the later for which she received $12.5 million. Although she now has a net worth of $90 million, she grew up poor, raised by a single mother in Cleveland, and once lived in a New York City homeless shelter before she made it big in Hollywood. Number 7. Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson is an American singer, songwriter, author, and television personality. She rose to fame after winning the first season of American Idol in 2002, which earned her a record deal with RCA. Her debut single A Moment Like This topped the US Billboard Hot 100 and became the country's best-selling single of 2002. It was included on her debut studio album Thankful, which debuted atop the Billboard 200. Trying to reinvent her image, Clarkson parted ways with Idol management and shifted to pop rock for her second studio album Breakaway. Supported by 4 US top 10 singles, the title track Since You've Been Gone, Behind These Hazel Eyes, and Because of You, Breakaway sold over 12 million copies worldwide and won 2 Grammy Awards. Clarkson took further creative control for her third studio album by December, co-writing all of its tracks and becoming its executive producer. Clarkson's 4th and 5th studio album, All I Ever Wanted and Stronger, returned to a lighter tone and pop rock sound, with the former becoming her second US #1 album, and the later making her the first artist to win the Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Album twice. In 2016, Kelly Clarkson left the audience and herself in tears when she performed a rendition of her song Piece by Piece on American Idol. The reason for all the emotion, however, was because the song was about her troubled childhood, which was punctuated by her father leaving her and her siblings being split up and scattered among family members. Number 6. Demi Moore. Demi Moore is an American actress. After making her film debut in 1981, Moore appeared on the soap opera General Hospital, and subsequently gained recognition as a member of the Brat Pack with roles in Blame It on Rio, St. Elmo's Fire, and About Last Night. She had her breakthrough for her starring role in Ghost, the highest-grossing film of that year. Her performance was praised and earned her a Golden Globe nomination. She had further box office success in the early 1990s with the film A Few Good Men, It's an Proposal, and Disclosure. In 1996, Moore became the highest-paid actress in film history when she received $12.5 million to star in Striptease. She had starring roles in the films Scarlet Letter and G.I. Jane, both of which were commercially unsuccessful and contributed to a downturn in her career. Her career has since had a resurgence with supporting roles in such films as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, Bobby, Mr. Brooks, Margin Call, and Rough Night. In 2019, she released a memoir titled Inside Out, which became a New York Times bestseller. But Demi Moore's father left before she was born, and the man who became her stepfather was frequently out of work, forcing the family to move frequently. However, number 5, Mark Wahlberg. Mark Robert Michael Wahlberg, former stage name Marky Mark, is an American actor, businessman, and former rapper. He's received multiple accolades, including a BAFTA award and nominations for 2 Academy Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, 9 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 3 Screen Actors Guild Awards. In the 1990s, Wahlberg was a member of the music group Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, with whom he released albums Music for the People and You Gotta Believe. Wahlberg made his screen debut in Renaissance Man, and had his first starring role in Fear. He also received critical praise for his performance in Boogie Nights, but as a child he was one of the 9 siblings in a broken home. He both used and sold substances as a child. He was also the aggressor in a series of violent, racially motivated assaults. The most serious charges resulted in imprisonment after being tried as an adult for attempting to take someone's life. Number 4. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone is an American actor and filmmaker. After his beginnings as a struggling actor for a number of years upon arriving to New York City in 1969 and later Hollywood in 1974, he won his first critical acclaim as an actor for his co-starring role in The Lords of Flatbush. Stallone subsequently found gradual work as an extra or side character in films with a sizable budget until he achieved his greatest critical and commercial success as an actor and screenwriter. In 1977, Stallone was the 3rd actor in cinema to be nominated for Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay and Best Actor. Stallone's film Rocky was inducted into the National Film Registry and had its props placed in the Smithsonian Museum. Stallone's use of the front entrance to the Philadelphia Museum of Art in the Rocky series led the area to be nicknamed the Rocky Steps. Philadelphia has a statue of his character Rocky placed permanently near the museum, and he was voted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Sylvester Stallone was born in New York City's Hell's Kitchen, where his mother was a hairdresser. Broken expecting a child, he took a few parts in B movies. At one point, he even sold his dog for cash. Number 3. Mila Kunis. Although she is mostly known for playing Jackie on That 70s Show, she has shown the world that she can do so much more. Since 1999, she provided the voice of the self-conscious daughter Meg Griffin on the animated sitcom Family Guy. Her breakthrough film, however, was Forgetting Sarah Marshall, in which she played a free-spirited character named Rachel. She has since starred in the films Max Payne, The Book of Eli, Black Swan, Friends with Benefits, Ted, and The Oz the Great and Powerful. Mila Kunis publicly vowed she and her husband, fellow actor and A-lister Ashton Kutcher, will not raise entitled children. That's because she grew up poor. An immigrant born in Ukraine, Kunis' family fled to America as the Soviet Union collapsed. In a 2016 interview with the Daily Mail, Kunis recalled eating ketchup soup as a kid when food was scarce. Number 2. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is an American actor known for playing dark and unconventional characters in independent films. He has received various accolades including an Academy Award, a British Academy Film Award, a Grammy Award, and 2 Golden Globe Awards. In 2020, the New York Times named him one of the greatest actors of the 21st century. Phoenix began his career by appearing in television series in the early 1980s with his brother River. His first major film roles were in Space Camp and Parenthood. During this period, he was credited as Leaf Phoenix, a name he gave himself. He took back his birth name, however, in the early 1990s and received critical acclaim for his supporting roles in the comedy drama To Die For. Phoenix received further critical acclaim and a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal in the historical drama Gladiator. He had success with the horror film Signs and The Village, and won an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, and a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of musician Johnny Cash in Walk the Line. In 2014, Joaquin Phoenix revealed that his childhood involved a Spartan existence with his family, who trekked through South America as part of a cult called Children of God. Now coming in at number 1, Eminem. Eminem is an American rapper and record producer. He is credited with popularizing hip-hop in Middle America and is critically acclaimed as one of the greatest rappers of all time. Eminem's global success and acclaimed works are widely regarded as having broken racial barriers for the acceptance of white rappers in popular music. However, he was raised in the poor and racially charged area along 8 Mile Road, Detroit's symbolic poverty dividing line. I would change schools 2-3 times a year, the rapper told Anderson Cooper in a 2011 interview while reflecting on how his unstable home life affected his education. I got beat up in the bathroom, beat up in the hallways, shoved into lockers, for the most part just for being the new kid. Eminem later dropped out of school in the 9th grade due to problems he faced. People with famous parents must have it easy, but I'm not one, so maybe I don't really have a say. I'm your host Michaela, and today I'll be talking about the top 10 most successful nepotism babies. And make sure to subscribe because it really helps us out. But now let's get started. Starting off this countdown at number 10, Wyatt Russell. If you've encountered all the "Not My Captain America" comments across social media, you know that they're talking about John Walker, played by none other than Wyatt Russell, the son of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, who are esteemed actors. Russell has been in a lot of projects throughout the years, but some notable ones are playing the mentioned John Walker, aka US agent in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as playing Cooper Renfield in Black Mirror, specifically in the playtest episode. Russell has been involved in a couple new projects that continue to prove his talent, and we will see him return to the MCU in the upcoming Thunderbolts in 2024. He has talked about what growing up was like, saying, quote, "What Kirk gave me and my mom gave me was the mindset that you're an individual and you make your choices individually. Individuality is an important thing in this business to not lose yourself. And those are the most important things I got. There's nothing about acting that they can really teach you." Number 9, Lily Collins. British American actress Lily Collins jumpstarted her career at the age of 2 by starring in BBC's Growing Pains. She also is the daughter of famous English musician Phil Collins, who you may know from his award-winning songs and Disney's Tarzan that remains iconic. Collins had a breakthrough performance in The Blind Side. The film received praises, even winning an Academy Award. Since then, Collins has starred in many many hit films and TV shows, with the latest being Emily in Paris, a rom-com series on Netflix wherein she plays Emily Cooper, a marketing executive who moves to France to work on a French firm. Season 3 of the show will premiere on December 21st, 2022, so it won't be long until you see Emily again. She said about her experience growing up in the industry, quote, "At the beginning, having Phil Collins as a dad was the most interesting thing about me. Now I've done 8 films, it's an afterthought. I get kids who say, oh, I love your movie, but my mom loves your dad. It's really nice to be able to share that with him, but it doesn't define who I am career-wise." Number 8, Michael Douglas. In some instances, nepotism extends beyond industry names to Hollywood royalty. While Kirk Douglas may have had a less than savory reputation in Hollywood, his impact on the industry has been recognized by both the Academy and the American Film Institute. He was the star of the 1950s silver screen with several box office smashes under his belt. Michael has followed in his father's footsteps as a modern-day movie star, and even directly borrowed from his father's legacy by taking on his rights to develop a film adaptation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Outside of his father's legacy, Michael is well known for being an Emmy winner, an Academy Award winner, and an MCU star. Number 7, Maya Hawke. Maya Hawke is the daughter of actors Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, so talent really is in the family. Before stepping into acting, Hawke went into modeling for brands like Vogue and All Saints, much like her mother before starting out. Years later, she takes on the same path as her parents by accepting the role of Jo Marsh in the BBC series Little Women in 2017. She then became more recognized when she joined the Stranger Things family as Robin Buckley, Steve Harrington's friend and co-worker. Recently, Hawke starred in Do Revenge on Netflix, a dark comedy film as a transfer student in Rose Hill Country Day High School, and befriends a popular girl who becomes an outcast after her ex-boyfriend Max leaks her video. Hawke is fairly new to the industry, yet she already has an impressive filmography, and will probably grow even bigger in the next few years. Not just in acting, but also music. She has said, quote, "My parents are wonderful and really supportive and have given me a lot, and I feel really grateful to have their support. And they both loved Stranger Things and I loved it before I was on it." Number 6, Dakota Johnson. While most people grow up with their parents' old sports trophies on the shelf, Dakota Johnson's parents, actors Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson, are both Golden Globe recipients. Dakota is the 3rd generation of a matriarchy of Hollywood success. To her, Tippi Hedren, the legacy star of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, is her grandma. However, Dakota has said that her parents initially discouraged her from acting, yet after growing up on film sets, she couldn't imagine herself choosing a different career path. Now, Johnson is best known for a leading role in the 50 Shades series, or maybe for her infamous Ellen interview.
No, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited.
As she continues to rack up acting credits after capturing the public's attention in bold fashion. She said, "I was so consistently unmoored and discombobulated. I didn't have an anchor anywhere. I never learned how to learn the way you're supposed to as a kid. I thought, why do I have to go to school on time? What's the point when you're living in Budapest for 6 months while your stepdad films Evita and you go to school in your hotel room?" Number 5, Maud Apatow. Most of the time you can point out a nepo baby by their last name, or by them starring in a project that their parents may have directed, and Maud Apatow is one of them. The actress is the daughter of comedian, actor, and filmmaker Judd Apatow and actress Leslie Mann. It's likely you've seen Apatow in films that her father directed, like This Is 40 and The King of Staten Island, even though they're usually small roles. However, Apatow has also starred in projects separate from her family. For instance, Apatow is better known for playing Lexi Howard in HBO's Euphoria, Rue's childhood best friend. The teen drama created by Sam Levinson follows the life of a recovering addict, Rue, as she navigates high school and other relationships. She also played Henrietta Costello in Ryan Murphy's Hollywood. She said, "When I was growing up, my parents never let me act in anything that wasn't with them, and I remember as a kid wanting to be on Broadway. I really wanted to start working. And it was important to my parents that I finish high school and was mature enough to be able to handle myself in those situations without them. I'm really glad that I ended up staying in high school. I feel like when they let me start acting on my own, I was actually ready." Number 4, Angelina Jolie. The world might know Angelina Jolie as a popular celebrity and one of Hollywood's highest paid actresses, but her short-lived stint as Angelina Jolie Voix is often forgotten. The daughter of Academy Award-winning actor John Voix and actress Marceline Bertrand. Jolie's initial TV credits are listed under her and her father's shared last name. Jolie's complicated relationship with her father has been the source of many headlines over the years, and Jolie has openly tried to separate herself from her father's legacy, though changing her last name didn't magically rid her of nepotism's influence. Jolie used her spotlight to build an influence and award-winning career under her own name. Now we can only wonder if the Jolie and Pitt children will do the same. She has said, "When my father had an affair, it changed my mother's life. It set her dream of family life ablaze, but she still loved being a mother. Her dreams of being an actor faded as she found herself." Number 3, Zoe Kravitz. For the past couple of years, Zoe Kravitz has been involved in impressive projects, making her acting debut in No Reservations back in 2007. Zoe is perhaps one of the most known nepo babies out there, with musician Lenny Kravitz and actress Lisa Bonet as her parents. Having them as your parents, it's no no question if you decide to follow their footsteps. Zoe has earned many awards and recognition for several of her roles, such as Big Little Lies in the Divergent series. People may also know her for portraying the iconic Catwoman in the 2022 superhero film The Batman. She said, "When I was younger, I really wanted to prove to people I was a normal human being, that I was cool, chill. When kids were mean, the first thing I said is, she thinks she's so effing cool because her dad is famous. I just wanted to fit in." Number 2, Miley Cyrus. Miley rose to fame alongside her dad, country music artist Billy Ray Cyrus. When Miley was cast in the Disney Channel show Hannah Montana, her real-life dad played her television dad, Robbie Ray. Fans of Billy Ray might recognize the character's similarities, including the not-so-fictional reference to the chart-topping song Achy Break Your Heart. It's obvious that outside of the family name, Billy Ray's passion for music massively influenced Miley's career. The Disney Channel star continued to forge her own path in acting, philanthropy, and music. Number 1, Elizabeth Olsen. Lastly, Elizabeth Olsen is the younger sister of the famous twins Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Before reaching her current status, Olsen can be seen in a couple of old projects with her sisters back when they were kids, and it only grew from there. Most people might know her as Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch in the MCU. She first appeared in Captain America: The Winter Soldier during the post-credit scene and recently starred in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as a villain. But besides being a part of such a huge universe, Olsen also takes on smaller films, namely Ingrid Goes West, a comedy film wherein she plays a social media influencer with a lot of following. When it comes to siblings, those who have one either love them or hate them, but you probably don't have a super famous rich one, or probably wish you did. I'm your host Michaela, and today we're talking about the top 10 richest celebrities you didn't know were siblings. And make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps us out. But now let's get started. Number 10, Blake and Robin Lively. Long before Blake Lively ever landed her starring role in the teen drama Gossip Girl, her older half-sister Robin Lively had a thriving acting career of her own. Back in the day, she starred in the cult classic film Teen Witch, and even had a major role on the hit show Twin Peaks. In an interview with Access Hollywood in 2017, the sisters sweetly shared that they are, quote, best friends, and that their bond is everything despite their 15-year age gap. They also have 3 more siblings: Robin's sister and Blake's half-sister Lori, Robin's brother and Blake's half-brother Jason, and Blake's brother and Robin's half-brother Eric. Lori is the oldest and Blake is the youngest of the crew. All 5 share the same mother, talent agent Eileen Lively, and all 5 have worked in the entertainment industry. Talk about good genes. Oh, and not to mention Blake's net worth of $30 million. Number 9, Dennis and Randy Quaid. Brothers Dennis and Randy Quaid have had many things in common: parents, a love of acting, and tons of public struggles. Younger brother Dennis's career took off in the 80s thanks to roles in Interspace, The Big Easy, and Great Balls of Fire. But in the 90s, he struggled with substance abuse disorder, an eating disorder, and eventually a messy divorce from America's sweetheart, Meg Ryan. Older brother Randy, meanwhile, made a name for himself in the 70s and 80s, even earning an Oscar nomination for The Last Detail in 1973, and getting a massive fan base as Cousin Eddie in the National Lampoon's Vacation movies. But a while back, he got into quite a bit of trouble with the law. Quaid and his wife Evie were wanted on a felony vandalism charges in California in 2010. The Quaids were detained at the Canadian border one night while trying to re-enter the United States after Canadian officials granted Evie citizenship, but denied Randy permanent residences and said he would be deported. Court papers said the Quaids damaged or destroyed furniture, a fireplace and a mirror in the guest room, and so much more. Number 8, Ariel Winter and Jimmy Workman. Ariel Winter is best known for playing middle sister Alex on the popular ABC sitcom Modern Family, but in real life, Winter is the youngest of 3, with an older sister and an older brother. What fans might not realize though is that they might already know her brother. His name is Jimmy Workman, and he played Pugsley in The Addams Family and Addams Family Values in the 90s. Winter's family dramas have been in the media for years, as People reports she and her brother are currently estranged, ever since Workman sided with their mother when she denied Winter's abuse allegations. According to a report, Winter was allegedly subjected to slapping, hitting, and pushing by Workman, as well as, quote, vile name-calling, personal insults about minor or minor's weight, attempts to sexualize minor, and deprivation of food for an extended period of time. Number 7, Mary-Kate, Ashley, and Elizabeth Olsen. Mary-Kate Olsen is an American businesswoman, fashion designer, equestrian, and former actress. And Ashley Fuller Olsen is an American businesswoman and former actress as well. They began their acting career 9 months after their birth, sharing the role of Michelle Tanner in the television sitcom Full House from 1987 to 1995. They also starred in numerous films together. In 1993, the production company Dull Star Entertainment Group was founded, which produced a long string of television films and direct-to-video releases featuring the girls. They starred in Passport to Paris in 1999, Our Lips Are Sealed in 2000, Winning in London in 2001, Holiday in the Sun in 2001, and in the television series So What Little Time from 2001 to 2002, for which they were nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Performer in Children's Programming. They starred in Getting in There in 2002, When in Rome in 2002, The Challenge in 2003, and made cameos in Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle in 2003 as well. And the last film they starred in was New York Minute in 2004. They continued their acting career independently, appearing with a few guest star roles in films and television shows, with Mary-Kate's very last film being Beastly in 2011. Now on to Lizzie. Elizabeth Chase Olsen is an American actress. Olsen began acting at the age of 4, and she starred in her debut film role in the thriller Martha Marcy May Marlene in 2011, for which she was acclaimed and nominated for a Critics' Choice Movie Award among other accolades, followed by a role in the horror film Silent House. Olsen also received a BAFTA Rising Star Award nomination and graduated from New York University 2 years later. But Olsen gained worldwide recognition for her portrayal of Wanda Maximoff, or Scarlet Witch, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe media franchise, starring in the superhero films Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, as well as the miniseries WandaVision. Her performance in WandaVision garnered her nominations for a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe Award. Combined, the three siblings have an estimated net worth of $511 million. While Mary-Kate and Ashley used to be very famous in the early 2000s, the two stars have still managed to maintain a $500 million net worth, which gives each of the twins $250 million. Elizabeth Olsen, on the other hand, rose to fame recently with her current net worth at $11 million. Number 6. Lily and Alfie Allen. In 2006, British pop star Lily Allen released a song called Alfie, playfully begging her lazy brother to straighten out his life and get a job. So though they may not realize it, Game of Thrones fans might have this song to thank for one of the show's most noteworthy characters. Lily's little brother Alfie Allen joined the hit HBO series as Theon Greyjoy in 2011, even earned an Emmy nomination for his performance in 2019. So I guess he can tell his sister thanks. Lily's net worth is also $4 million, and her brother's is actually higher than hers at $6 million. Number 5. Florence Pugh and Toby Sebastian. Florence Pugh has had a huge past few years, with acclaimed roles in Midsommar, Little Woman, and Black Widow. Because they work under different names, you likely missed that her brother Toby Sebastian is also an actor. Most notably, he was in the 5th season of Game of Thrones and an opera singer in the 2017 The Music of Silence, with his net worth of around $2 million and Florence's of $8 million. Number 4. Kate and Oliver Hudson. Almost Famous star Kate Hudson and Rules of Engagement star Oliver Hudson are, unknown to many, both the children of Goldie Hawn and Bill Hudson. After a messy divorce, the siblings were raised by Hawn and stepfather Kurt Russell, and were later very publicly disowned by their biological father. Ever since Oliver Hudson's harsh Father's Day Instagram post, which featured him and his younger sister Kate Hudson as kids, posing with their biological father Bill Hudson, and read Happy Abandonment Day. Bill claimed that he did his best to remain in his children's life for years, but that their mother increasingly pitted them against him. After years of back and forth, Oliver's Instagram post was a final straw for him. The duo now work together under the banner of Kate's activewear brand Fabletics, with her big brother Oliver taking over the men's division FL2. Number 3. Jonah Hill and Beanie Feldstein. In recent years, Jonah Hill has shown the world that he is able to tackle any genre, moving on from teen comedies like Superbad to more serious films like the Oscar-nominated baseball flick Moneyball. And given Hill's success as both an actor and director, it should come as no surprise that talent runs in the family. Hill's younger sister, Beanie Feldstein, earned accolades for her performance in 2019's hilarious coming-of-age dramedy Booksmart, and she also appeared in Greta Gerwig's Oscar-nominated film Lady Bird in 2018. If you weren't aware that Hill and Feldstein were related, don't feel bad. Though Hill's last name is legally Feldstein, Hill is his middle name, only his sister still uses the family name professionally. Despite the difference, these two have a special sibling bond. The Hill got a Hello Beanie tattoo in 2018, in honor of his sister's performance in the 2017 Broadway Hello Dolly, with Jonah's net worth of $16 million and his sister's net worth of $3 million. Number 2. Miley Noah Cyrus. Together, the two ladies have an estimated net worth of $163 million. However, a majority of it comes from Miley Cyrus. The former Disney Channel star currently has a net worth of $160 million, while her younger sister Noah, who is no doubt just as wild as Miley, is estimated to have only $3 million. Now, I thought it was obvious that they were siblings, but some people really didn't know. And those of you that don't, I'll tell you a bit about Noah. Noah Cyrus is an American singer and actress. As a child actor, she voiced a titular character in the English dub of the film Ponyo in 2008, as well as having minor roles in shows like Hannah Montana with her sister and Doc. In 2016, she made her debut as a singer in the single Make Me Cry, featuring Labyrinth, which peaked at number 46 on the Billboard Hot 100. She has released 3 extended plays, Good Cry in 2018, The End of Everything in 2020, and People Don't Change in 2021. Her debut studio album, The Hardest Part, was then released on September 16, 2022. And she was also nominated for Best New Artist at the 63rd Annual Grammy Awards. Oh, and fun fact, they also have 3 other siblings, including the famous Trace Cyrus, with his net worth of $3 million, just like Noah. Now coming in at number 1, Chris, Liam, and Luke Hemsworth. Brothers Chris Hemsworth from Thor and Liam Hemsworth from The Hunger Games are known all over the world for their dashing good looks and acting skills. But all too often, people overlook the third Hemsworth brother, Luke, who plays Ashley on HBO's sci-fi drama Westworld. With Chris's net worth at $130 million, Liam's at $28 million, and Luke's at $3 million, there's a reason I put these siblings at number 1. I've never been on a yacht, but I can only imagine they are just as calming, fancy, and beautiful as it seems. Today I'm talking about the top 10 crazy expensive yachts only rich people can afford. I'm your host, Michaela, and make sure to hit that subscribe button because it really helps us out. But enough of this, let's get on to the video. Starting off this countdown at number 10, Alasia. Way back in 2006, this yacht was the most expensive one in the world. Not so much these days, however. It has a large jacuzzi, 2 outside bars, water jets, diving equipment, fishing equipment, and a small speedboat used for dives away from the yacht. The starter rooms also include a small cinema, a large conference room, and a small restaurant, and it's owned by Greek businessmen. Figures though. Now you might think that this yacht is totally hardcore, and it is, but there are more on this list that can put it to actual shame. But I guess if you can afford to drop over $110 million on a yacht, you're doing okay. Number 9, Ambrosia. Ambrosia checks in at $119 million, and it actually appears to be for sale right now. But you probably won't be able to buy it unless you're Elon Musk or the founder of Chick-fil-A or something. But if you're looking for a yacht that features diesel-electric Azipod propulsion, which brings to yachting a level of fuel efficiency, safety, and quiet, and flexible operation previously seen only in commercial and military ships, and also has an interior by renowned French designer François Zuretti. Incorporates a highly refined art decor themed interior with extensive use of marquetry, hand-cut carpets, elegant staircases, and hand-painted murals. And if you have around $120 million lying around, then you might just be in luck when it comes to your next boat. Number 8, Polaris. The Polaris comes in at a whopping $130 million. Oh, but don't worry, we aren't even getting close to the most expensive yachts on this list. It was commissioned by a Saudi Arabian businessman before it was sold to a Russian billionaire, who ended up outfitting it with a second helicopter pad because apparently one wasn't enough, clearly. At one point, the yacht had a crew total of 46 people, and it eventually sold to David Geffen, who, if you don't know, is the maker of DreamWorks. You know that little moon with the guy and the fishing rod? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. This boat can also accommodate 18 and 46 crew, but based on the size of it, it seems like it can hold a lot more people. This might seem like we're reaching the heights of extravagance, but believe me, we aren't even close to getting to the most expensive yachts that were ever made. You're just gonna have to keep watching or skip to the end, but that's boring and no fun. And you guys aren't boring, are you? Number 7, Project Mars. Coming in at around $160 million, some of its features are an exterior lounge connected to the main saloon, an enclosed living garden, a backlit bar, a backlit onyx fireplace, a glass bridge, a formal dining room, a VIP cabin, children's quarters, a guest cabin, a helipad, an office, a gym, a sauna, and a steam room. I mean, that sounds like a lot of value for $160 million bucks, right? Who wouldn't want to spend that much money on something like this? I guess if you have that money to spend, you might as well spend it on luxury, right? Or I suppose you could just buy an entire third world country or try to solve world hunger. Number 6, Rising Sun. The Rising Sun comes in at $200 million. It's been owned for a while by David Geffen, who I already mentioned on this list, but this is his second one, and is one of the largest yachts in the world. Also, I just thought about this, but like if you have a yacht, why would you need a house or a car? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm being unrealistic, but to me, it's like if you have a mode of transportation and you have shelter, that's the thing though, I guess. These people who own yachts aren't about having something they need to survive. It's just something that they want. They're about having something that makes them appear richer than everyone else, which I mean, it does that, but anyway. Halfway, number 5, Seven Seas. Another that comes in at $200 million is a yacht known as Seven Seas. It used to be owned by Steven Spielberg, but he decided it wasn't big enough. Steven didn't realize how much he'd enjoy cruising the ocean. Now, he said he'd like to spend more time exploring the seas and bring a few friends along for the ride, so he decided to upgrade to a bigger yacht. This is the kind of thing that makes me wonder if people in Hollywood have totally lost touch with what's going on in the world. Actually, what am I talking about? Of course they have. A tremendously influential film personality since the 50s, Steven Spielberg is known for producing and directing some of the most successful contemporary films. He's also one of the wealthiest people in film and clearly decided to spend some of his wealth on his passion for the ocean. According to rumors, the famous director took Seven Seas on a trip down memory lane when visiting places that he first explored while filming some of his movies, like North Africa when he directed Indiana Jones, China where Empire of the Sun was filmed, and Hawaii where part parts of Jurassic Park came to life. The 7 Seas can comfortably accommodate 12 guests and 26 crew members, enough to ensure absolute comfort for every visitor. The sizable master suite, study, private owner's deck, a fully equipped gymnasium, a helipad, 2 cinemas, a spa and massage room, and private jacuzzi deck ensures an exclusive experience for Spielberg himself, even when entertaining guests. The interior is tastefully decorated by the esteemed design firm Nuvolari and Leonard, and boasts great expanses of walnut, rosewood, and teak. Guests can also look forward to using the 2 custom-built onboard tenders. Number 4, Dilbar. The Dilbar comes in at $256 million and is one of the largest yachts in the world, and is owned by Russian oligarch Alisher Osmanov. What's up with how rich Russians are these days? If you are a certain age, then you remember how Russians weren't supposed to be rich. They were supposed to be scary and hiding in the shadows, not cruising around on one of the most expensive yachts in the world. Well, times have changed, and these days the Russians aren't afraid to compare wealth with anyone. And one of the ways they show off their wealth is by cruising around in super rich yachts like this one, I guess. Number 3, Al Said. Now we're really starting to get up there with the big boys. $300 million for a yacht? You have to be kidding me. The Al Said is owned by Qaboos bin Said Al Said, the Sultan of Oman. Not a whole lot is known about it other than it has an enormous concert hall inside of it, big enough for a 50-piece orchestra. That's the thing, some people are rich and they want to show it off, and other people like to keep it a secret. The longest serving Arab ruler was born on November 18th, 1940, into the Al Said dynasty. His family had held power dating back to 1744. He received his education in England, returning home to Oman in 1965 and placed under virtual house arrest by his father. The New York Times quoted him then as explaining, "I watched with growing dismay and increasing anger the inability of my father to use the newfound wealth of his country for the needs of its people. That's why I have taken control." Oman discovered oil on its own soil in the mid-1960s, yet despite the resulting wealth, it remained isolated and poor. He went on to use the oil wealth to develop infrastructure, ranging from paved roads to universities, hospitals, schools, ports, and sports stadiums. Furthermore, the Sultan established diplomatic relations throughout the Arab region as well as with China, the Soviet Union, and the United States. Under him, Oman also joined the United Nations. While he annually undertook a Meet the People tour with Oman, he began appearing less in the public as he grew older. Number 2, Dubai. This yacht comes in at $350 million. It features sunbathing areas, several jacuzzis, and a swimming pool boasting elaborate handmade tiling. Similarly, the interior features intricately designed handmade mosaics and a stunning circular staircase with glass steps, which change color with the light that enters from the top deck. Bold colors dominate the spectacular decorated interior. I mean, it sounds nice, but is it really $350 million nice? I think I might need to live in it for like a year without paying anything before I actually decide and know if I really want to buy it, you know? Now coming in at number 1, Streets of Monaco. When I first saw a picture of this yacht, my jaw dropped. I honestly couldn't believe what I was looking at. I mean, at that point, can you even call it a yacht? Like, that's a city on water. Kinda like the city of Atlantis, except this one didn't sink. The first billion-dollar yacht on this list is one of only 3 that has the price tag. It's also the tackiest yacht on this list, without a doubt, as it's made to look like a scaled-down version of, you guessed it, the Streets of Monaco. The main apartment of the owner is 4,800 square feet. This thing is super tacky sitting, but still kinda nice at a whopping $1.1 billion. Not accounting for tax, of course, which would probably cost another $1 million or so. But if you buy a billion-dollar boat like this, you probably accounted for tax and many other things. Picturing myself living in one of these gorgeous luxurious homes sounds like a dream, but maybe one day I'll live in one of these. I'm your host Michaela, and today we are talking about the top 10 luxurious homes you won't believe are real. Starting off at number 10, Palazzo d'Amore. Although this 43,000 square foot Mediterranean estate is located on a private tree-lined road in the center of America's most star-studded zip code, none of Hollywood's elite has made a move on it. Worthy of a starring role itself, the $129 million estate offers 12 bedrooms, 23 bathrooms, and a 10,000 square foot wine cellar, and an entertainment complex, all surrounded by a beautiful reflecting pool, waterfall, and a lush green garden. Yet all of these astonishing amenities have been standing since the lavish estate was listed in 2014, but was removed from the market several times since then. The home was recently relisted in March 2017 and is located in gorgeous Beverly Hills, California. Number 9, Golden Gate Glamour. So based on the title, I'm sure you can guess where this gorgeous home is located. In a city where more than half of all listed homes sell within a month of hitting the market, there have been notable few buyers waiting in the wings for this palatial property, which has been in the market for 566 days. This 16,000 square foot mansion features 7 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, and even elevator access to every floor and the lovely rooftop deck. A very rich buyer could scoop up the neglected nest for $29 million, which makes it far pricier than other neighborhood homes in San Francisco, California. Number 8, Resort Style Residence. Graced by an outdoor pool and an open-air pavilion that seats over 40 people, this waterfront estate was literally built for entertaining. And yet, the property, which is has been on and off the market for 4 years, hasn't seen an alfresco soiree in quite a while. The pool and pavilion are just two of many striking features on the picture-perfect 22,000 square foot residence overlooking Tranquil Mill Basin. Spa baths, powder rooms, a solarium, and a chef's kitchen round out the list of luxurious homes at the $18 million residence in Brooklyn, New York. Number 9. Silverhorn Spectacular. Very rarely does an estate property of this type come available in Katy. The spectacular home, which sits on over 1 acre of grounds, complete with a tennis court, a fresh green garden, a refreshing pool with an elevated hot tub, pool house with entertaining spaces, expansive yard and planting areas, a circular driveway with gate and motor core area with a 4-car garage. You will find the most lovely amenities, including an owner's retreat with a sitting area and fireplace along with its own workout room, gorgeous bath with glass block shower, spa tub, and enormous dressing closet spaces. Additional features include a wine room, downstairs secondary bedroom with full bath and craft room. Upstairs is a formal study, children's study nook, dry sauna, children's game room, and a formal game room with wet bar adjacent to the home theater room. The exterior breezeway provides access to the enormous guest suite with private bath, living area, and additional storage, and this will cost you around $2.3 million pending you will ever plan to purchase it. Number 6. Hayes Mansion. When I first saw this one, I actually thought there had been a mistake because I thought there was no way this could be a house because the pool and pool deck looks like a total resort. Though the potential sale of Hayes Mansion for a value of around $47 million eventually fell through earlier this year, its century-old charms are not lost on locals. The 41,000 square foot revival estate, built in 1905 and listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1975, features 62 rooms and incorporates over 12 different species of wood. For investors who wish to claim a piece of California's history, the stately property is now back on the market for $36 million. Halfway at number 5, Lakefront Manse. If you're looking for a humble home in Michigan, this $4.9 million estate probably won't make your shortlist. For those seeking luxury, the opulent waterfront residence could just be the ticket. The 7,740 square foot abode planted on a scenic long lake comes with 5 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, a gym, 6 fireplaces, and a walkout basement with its own exercise and billiards room. After the home failed to attract a buyer in 2015 and again in 2016, it was made available to renters for the cool price of $25,000 a month in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Number 4. Stone-walled sanctuary. You wouldn't guess from its failure to a worthy stone exterior, but this estate has been unable to attract a buyer for years, during which time it has been repeatedly put on and off the market without changing ownership. Currently it is on sale for $39.9 million. Don't really see how that's a sale, but anyway. The Millionaire Ready Manse was built on the estate of Henry Clay Fick II, the grandson of renowned steel tycoon Henry Clay Fick. Buyers willing to splurge on the modern-day palace will find that the 30,000 square foot interior is full of crazy amenities, including a home theater, wine cellar, and an 11-car garage in Alpine, New Jersey. Number 3. 3 homes in one. You know the saying everything is bigger in Texas? Well, I didn't fully believe it until I saw this house. Dallas's low cost of living allows homebuyers to put forth more of their budget to real estate, but this high-end home on the market since January hasn't yet piqued the interest of a high-flying buyer. At $48.9 million, the 28,000 square foot pad on a beautiful 25-acre lot certainly has the living space to justify its price tag. The buyer who scoops up the property gets not only the main house but also gets a guest house and an apartment, all located less than a 10-minute drive from downtown. Number 2. Versace Mansion. One of the most luxurious and impressive mansions in Madrid is on sale for 5.5 million euros. Located at Las Rosas de Madrid, northwest of the capital, it has more than 1,700 square meters of mansion on a property of 3,300 square meters. It has 6 bedrooms, 5 of them being large master suites with large panoramic terraces, in addition to 4 living rooms and a kitchen with a separate dining room of 130 square meters. Among the many rooms of the property are the fully soundproofed cinema with great comfort, a movie theater, a wine cellar, a games room, a meeting room, a large spa with a heated indoor pool where you can enjoy a jacuzzi, sauna, Turkish baths, and more. Outside there is a double staircase leading to the first floor, featuring impressive views of the mountains, a paddle tennis court on the back of the garden, and great privacy. The underfloor heating throughout the house will also make sure you don't have cold feet. It also has hot and cold air conditioning. In terms of security, it is fully armored with closed circuit security cameras, armored doors with anchors, armored glass, infrared perimeter alarms, and alarms with movement sensors. This mansion is also on sale fully furnished with very exclusive furniture, with a multitude of Versace decorative elements and great architectural and decorative qualities. Now finally, coming in at number 1, The One. Yes, this home is called The One, described by Concierge Auctions as 105,000 square foot work of art and the largest and grandest grandest house ever built in the urban world. The one with its prime location, phenomenal architecture, and extraordinary artwork has every right to make it to this list. Perched atop a hill with a 360-degree view of the bustling city of Los Angeles below. The one has a very much king of the world feel. Right from the massive 5,000 square feet master bedroom to the set of the infinity pools adding to the mansion on the hill's aesthetic. To the numerous artworks all over the house, everything about this home screams high living. A house built to pamper everyone, of course, has to have 21 bedrooms, a state-of-the-art gym complete with a lap pool, and a 4-lane bowling alley. The property also is known for being home to a garage big enough to fit 30 cars, with turntables for brag-worthy displays, a movie theater, a 10,000-bottle wine cellar, a guest house, a nightclub, a hair salon, a juice bar, and a 10,000-foot roof deck, among many other rooms. Oh, and its cost is $295 million. I'm not a car expert, nor do I know much about them, but I do enjoy looking at really cool ones. So today we are going to talk about the top 10 rarest cars in the world you won't ever see in your lifetime. I'm your host, Michaela, and make sure to subscribe. But now let's get started. Starting off at number 10, Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. The Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale was an Italian sports car built between 1967 and 1969. Only 18 of the cars were built. As the name indicates, it is a street-legal version of a racing car. In this case, the Auto Delta Alfa Romeo Tipo 33 sports prototype. Then produced was a 2.0-liter V8 that featured Spica fuel injection, 4 ignition coils, and 16 spark plugs that were specifically built for this car. It gave the Stradale a top speed of 160 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 time of 5.5 seconds, which wasn't bad for 1967. According to Alfa Romeo, this car's original launch price was 10 million Italian lire, which was about $6,150 at the time. Estimates for this car now sit at around $3 million and above. Number 9, 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1. The 1969 ZL1 had a 427 Cuin L88 engine that officially produced 430 horsepower, although there are several reports claiming it actually made in excess of 500 horsepower. Either way, the ZL1 was the most powerful Corvette available at the time. All that power meant it needed some other upgrades as well. It received special front and rear suspension, heavy-duty brakes, hose traction rear axle, and transistorized ignition were all options for the 69 Corvette ZL1. According to the official records, only 2 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1s were sold, and only one of those is fully documented, and to this day they cost around $1.2 million. Number 8, 1954 Oldsmobile F88. The Oldsmobile F88 was a dream car built in 1954, with the initial sketches drawn by Bill Lang. It was built in the chassis of a Chevrolet Corvette and used the same 102-inch wheelbase, and the body was built of fiberglass. The car used a 5.3-liter Super 88 V8 engine with a 4-barrel carburetor, giving it up to 250 horsepower and a Corvette-derived rear axle. The instrument panel on the car was later then used on the Cutlass. Many people believe that the F88 was the car that changed the style of cars for the new up-and-coming era. This is not your typical Oldsmobile, as you can tell by its sleek golden body in pristine condition. The F88 is an example of car manufacturing transcending into art. Number 7, 1957 Jaguar XK-SS. The Jaguar XK-SS was a road-friendly version of the Jaguar D-Type race car. It was originally built in 1957 and looks somewhat like a precursor to the Jaguar E-Type. Only 16 of these cars were made over 50 years ago, out of a scheduled 25, and the final 9 were built and launched in 2016, built to the exact specifications of the originals. The car came about after a few completed D-Types were unsold following the 1956 racing season. Sir William Lyons of Jaguar decided to convert the cars to be road legal in an attempt to exploit the American market, which was heavily into high-performance European cars. It's based off of the Jaguar D-Type race car and came about as a result of Jaguar pulling out of competitive motorsports at the time, said a spokesman for CarSumo. The Jaguar XK-SS was popularized by icon actor Stephen McQueen. Number 6, 1994 Ferrari F40 LM. The Ferrari F40 is a classic body style from Ferrari, a mid-engined rear-wheel drive sports car that was built between 1987 and 1992. The F40 was the successor to the Ferrari 288 GTO, designed to celebrate the company's 40th anniversary. It was the last car design personally approved by the late great Enzo Ferrari. It was also Ferrari's fastest, most powerful, and most expensive car at the time, with a suggested retail price of $400,000, which is around $860,000 today. A twin turbocharged V8 giving it a 471 horsepower, giving it a top speed of 199 miles per hour. Of the 1,311 F40s made, only 19 of them were F40 LMs. According to GT Spirit, a 1994 F40 LM was expected to sell for between 2 to 2.5 million, but it ended up going for 3.3 million. Halfway number 5, 2013 Pagani Zonda Revolution. This is a mid-engine supercar that debuted June 1999, and production ended in 2018 after the release of the Zonda HP Barchetta. Only 135 Zondas were built since 2009, both as coupes and roadsters. In the third variant, the Barchetta, the Zonda Revolution is a special final version of the car that was released only to special clients and family members during Vanishing Point 2013. Mercedes-AMG developed the engine, a 6.0-liter V12 that produced 789 horsepower and an X-Track 672 6-speed transversal and sequential gearbox that could change gears in 20 milliseconds. Only 5 of these cars were built and they were priced at around $2.6 million. Number 4, W Motors Lycan Hypersport. The Lycan Hypersport is a Lebanese limited production supercar that was built by W Motors. It was built in 2012 with the help of Lebanese, French, and Italian engineers, and is the first sports car to be designed and manufactured indigenously in the Middle East. The car was made famous by its introduction in the film Furious 7, where a hypersport smashes through skyscrapers. It can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.8 seconds and has a top speed of 240 miles per hour. Only 7 units were produced, making it one of the rarest supercars. It also came with a price tag of $3.4 million, making it the third most expensive production car built to date. The Hypersport's headlights were embedded with jewels, titanium LED blades, and a 420 15-karat diamonds, though buyers could also pick rubies, yellow diamonds, and sapphires to integrate depending on the color choice. As if the precious gemstones weren't enough, the 3D infotainment system can even generate holographs, and the leather interior is stitched with gold thread. But not all the money went to nice things, as you can tell by its 3.7-liter twin-turbo Flax 6 engine that produces 780 horsepower. Number 3, 1956 Aston Martin DBR1. The Aston Martin DBR1 was a race car built in 1956 and intended for the World Sports Car Championship. Its most famous victory on the track came at the 1959 24 Hours of Le Mans, which was Aston Martin's only outright victory at their endurance race. It's one of only 3 cars to win both the Le Mans 24 Hours and the World Sports Car Championship in the same year. The DBR1 won 6 World Sports Car Championships in the 50s, which was a record and remained a record until surpassed by the Ferrari 250 TR. The car was fixed with a racing version of the Lagonda straight 6 engine in order to comply with the 24 Hours of Le Mans regulations. It was a 2.5-liter engine that clocked 250 horsepower. In August 2017, a DBR1 was sold for $22 million, which is a world record price for a British-made car. Bloomberg has called the DBR1 the most important Aston Martin ever made. Only 5 of these purpose-built cars were ever made, according to the Telegraph. Number 2, 1953 Jaguar XK120C. The Jaguar XK120C, or the C-Type, was a racing sports car from Jaguar produced between 1951 and 1953. The car was built using a lightweight tubular frame and an aerodynamic body. Only 53 of these cars were ever built, and 43 of them were sold to private owners, making it possibly the rarest Jaguar in the world. When a 53 C-Type was sold at an RM auction in Italy in 2015 for $13.2 million, it became the most expensive Jaguar ever sold. The road version car ran on a 3.4-liter twin-cam straight 6 engine that produced between 160 and 180 brake horsepower, while the track version had a 205 brake horsepower tuned engine. The C-Type was very successful at racing, proven by its 2 wins at the Le Mans 24 Hours race, first in 1951 and then in 1953. But they lost in 1952 because Jaguar was worried about the reported speed of the new Mercedes-Benz 300 SLs. So they modified the aerodynamics to increase speed, but the rearrangement led to overheating from a vulnerable cooling system. Now coming in at number 1, the 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO. The Ferrari 250 GTO is a race car produced between 1962 and 1964 for the FIA's Group 3 Grand Touring car category. The car is powered by a Tipo V12 engine. Only 39 of these cars were made, 33 with the 1962-63 bodywork Series 1, 3 with the 1964 bodywork Series 2, which was similar to the Ferrari 250 LM, and 3 330 GTO limited edition cars with larger engines. The GTO cost around $18,000 at its onset in the United States, and buyers had to be personally approved by Enzo Ferrari and his dealer. In 2012, the 1962 GTO made for a Sterling Moss set an all-time record-selling price of $38 million. Another 250 GTO set the record for the most expensive car ever sold at an auction when it fetched a staggering $48 million in 2018. Unofficially, a 1963 Ferrari GTO was also sold to a private owner in 2018, fetching a record-breaking sum of $70 million. Enzo Ferrari once said he thought the Jaguar XKE was the most beautiful car in the world, and the 250 GTO kind of looks like one, so we wonder where he got the design idea for the car. It was nominated as the top sports car of all time by Sports Car International in 2004, and Motor Trend Classic placed it first on its list of greatest Ferraris of all time. Popular Mechanics also named it the hottest car of all time. But that is all. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.